Big poppin', money in the bank coming, dropping a deposit. Having it my way, so I got these bitches watching. Steady getting to it, couldn't fit it in my pocket. Flexing everything, baby, tell me big poppin'. Money in the bank coming, dropping a deposit. Having it my way, so I got these bitches watching. Steady getting to it, couldn't fit it in my pocket. Flexing everything, baby, tell me what the topic.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the bar. Favorite guys and docs under that girl Henny, and today we are going to be pouring up on Mississippi's change in story, because when I came across this yesterday, I wanted to come live, but y'all know I don't come live on Sundays. Anywho, this has taken the investigation into a whole nother direction, and it's raising more eyebrows and people saying So first, I want to welcome everybody who is new to the bar. Welcome, welcome. Please be sure to like, comment, and of course, subscribe. Click the notification bell, select all so you get notified whenever I do a video. And if you are a returning Mob Down Henny Gang member, now let's get into this spill. We're not going to be here very long, and I do apologize for missing my 10 a.m. mark, but we are here and we are not going to waste any time. So, by show of Henny glasses, while I get this screen together, by show of Henny glasses, how many of you remember when Sheriff Ledbetter came out and he said shortly after they discovered Nolan's body on Horn Island, washed ashore, that he said that there didn't appear to be any signs of foul play? Henny glasses in the chat if you remember that. And if you don't, if you don't remember that, just know that I'm going to play for you where it came from. So I know some people were saying, well, where did he say that for himself? He didn't have to say it for himself because there's proof that Sheriff Ledbetter was talking to the local station WLOX. And I'm going to play that part for you. And then you're going to hear where the reporter repeats what Sheriff Ledbetter has said to him. So this is according to the news anchor over on WLOX, which is Mississippi's local news station. Y'all be sure to lean on that like button and share this one out.
A lot of unanswered questions in this. I spoke with Sheriff John Ledbetter today, who says that this is a very active investigation, but left this message for people who are still wanting answers.
Number one, give the family space and time. They are still processing this tragic event. And all of Nolan's close friends. And we're still waiting for 100% confirmation. I'll assure you that the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, we're looking at this whole case just like we would any other case. And we're going to be as thorough as we can.
Now, Sheriff Ledbetter tells me that even with the autopsy scheduled for tomorrow, he doesn't believe that there were any signs of foul play. But again, this is a very active investigation.
So this is where that statement came in at, that he doesn't believe that there are any signs of any foul play. Now, we've heard plenty of people explain what I heard. Plenty of people saying that, the reason why he's saying this is because he didn't see a gunshot wound or a stab wound. Bullshit. You don't make statements like this outright, openly, or even to news outlets when an investigation has not, when a thorough investigation, including an autopsy and a medical expert, has not come back with a conclusion as to what has happened. And see, now Sheriff Ledbetter is sitting back with egg on his face because yesterday, the same news outlet, WLOX, they interviewed another official. This time, this is a state official. This is a Mississippi state official. Sheriff Ledbetter is the sheriff over Jackson County, Mississippi. There is a huge difference, and I appreciate the people who are from Mississippi that do follow me that asked me to make it very clear distinction between Jackson and Jackson County. So he's over Jackson County. This official that's about to talk to us is from the state. And I want you guys to pay attention to what it is that they are saying, because this is where this story is taking a whole nother, this case, not even a story, this is a case. It's seeming to take a whole nother turn. Let's take a listen.
To talk about the investigative process of this high-profile case, Mississippi Public Safety Commissioner Sean Tindell, thank you for taking time for us. And I know you've been watching this case closely.
So his name is Sean Tindell, okay? And like I said, he is a part of the state. And now, as you know, this investigation has gone from the sheriffs discovering it, the Coast Guard being involved, the United Cajun Navy being involved, all of these people being involved, to the body going to the Mississippi coroner's office, to going to DC to a private autopsy, to coming, the case still ongoing. Allegedly, there's been all these witnesses that have been spoken to by the sheriff's department, all of these statements that have been given out by by alleged witnesses that were there, that they now have the autopsy back. The FBI done came and got involved, but the FBI made it very clear that they were basically just backing Jackson County because they were letting them take the lead on this, and that they were investigating the threats, which, by the way, we'll get into the second arrest a little later on. I know that that's like news that's already come out, but I never covered it. So we're going to get into it and read some court docs. But they've made arrests and threats. We've had all types of stuff come out in this case. But now we're seeing that it went from Jackson County to Mississippi State. And that's where this gentleman comes in at.
This is technically a state of Mississippi case. It's handled in Jackson County. But where does the role of the state come in?
Primarily in cases like this, with any sort of suspicious death, whether it's a suicide or a homicide or anything that the medical examiner might deem as suspicious.
Did y'all catch that? The state gets involved whenever it's a suspicious death, whether it be a self-deletion or a 187. This is a completely different stretch from where we first started, with the sheriff saying he didn't see any signs of foul play. And then I couldn't find where it said that he was leaning towards accidental drowning. But apparently that's what outlets have been reporting. That's what bloggers have been reporting. But we do know that that's kind of where he was leaning towards, just kind of thinking to ourselves and using our brains. If you're saying that you don't see any signs of foul play, then the implication of it being an accidental drowning is where he was possibly leading. But Sean Tyndall is telling something else. So let me go ahead and let me bring it back to what was said.
Primarily in cases like,
but where does the role of the state come in?
Primarily in cases like this, with any sort of suspicious death, whether it's a suicide or a homicide or anything that the medical examiner might deem as suspicious, that we will conduct the autopsy.
So this is a Jackson County, Mississippi case. The state steps in only when there's suspicion of self-deletion in 187. So here's the thing. What is it that is making y'all say that? Could it possibly be his neck structure that did not make it to the second autopsy? Because we've all been wondering what's been going on with that neck structure. Okay, that neck structure, those inner parts, there's bones, there's pieces that they're looking for to see if there was any trauma to the throat. Now, also with the throat, you can see if there is bile in the throat, meaning if there was, if he was, regurgitating. I had to think of the word to be politically correct and not so grotesque first thing in the morning, to see if there was water that went down there. It starts in the neck. So all of this is making you put two and two together. Okay. Hey, what's up, Smoked Out? What body parts are you referring to, Sheila? Because we've gone over this. The body parts are there. The only thing, if you're talking about the neck structure, that's where we're at right now. We are trying to figure out the neck structure. Where is it? Because now that you have this state official, this is the Mississippi State Public Safety Commissioner. So this is not just some run-of-the-mill officer that's coming out here talking. This is the commissioner of public safety that is saying we step in when it's suspicious. So what are y'all trying to say to us without actually saying it to us? Are you trying to tell us that we've been right all along and that something foul happened? Because we all know that something. Let me be very careful with what I'm saying. Okay. I have to be very careful with what I'm saying. So let me do this. Has this case, answer this question for me in the chat, y'all. Has this case ever given you any signs of it being anything other than foul play? If you believed foul play from the beginning, type foul play in the chat. If you've just been unsure since the beginning, put your question marks down in the chat. Let's continue.
And so, that is something that is typically performed by the state medical examiner. We happen to have the chief medical examiner of the state of Mississippi located down here on the coast.
Stacy Turner is the chief medical examiner, and she is down there on the coast. Okay. We know this already. So you're not really telling us anything that we didn't know.
So she would be the pathologist that would handle that. And normally once that's wrapped up, as far as the autopsy and the report's completed, that information is uploaded into a system in which the coroner and the investigators can retrieve and review the autopsy.
So let's be very clear here, and let's call this thing out. We're going to call it all the way out. Have you noticed? Hey, everybody coming in, please be sure to lean on that like button and share this one out. Have you noticed that he has not said the state medical examiner's name? He has not said Stacy Turner. He has only referred to her as she. He has not said her name. That's because they know there's some stink on her name. Okay, they know it, even without us calling it out. Let's step away from the Nolan Wells case. We've gone over the other cases that she's been involved in where they've called foul on her for the way that she called out autopsy results. Okay, so he's not saying her name, but he has, just by saying the state's medical examiner is here on the coast and she. So we know you've confirmed what we already knew. So you're not really telling us anything. But the part that bothers me and disturbs me is that you're saying that the autopsy results are then uploaded into a system where the DA and these other local officials can get to it. But when the family was on Don Lemon with Ben Crump, when they were on their way to a speaking event, the family had not seen the autopsy. And I find that. And I know people are going to say to me, well, Henny, it's an investigation. They're not going to let the family know. Yeah, but if y'all are supposed to be having this transparency, right, and you're supposed to be sharing information so that you could build trust with the family, y'all are failing at that because the family is saying they are not speaking to you guys. They're not getting information. She's scheduled to go see them, but I haven't heard anything back as to what's going on. We don't know if they're going to tell her that she can't come out and say anything publicly until the grand jury comes out or what. But last we heard from Christine and last we heard from Ben Crump, they were scheduled to go in to see the DA.
Reports.
And that is where we are right now. From what we're hearing, that was completed.
And again, we normally don't comment on when it's completed. We make it available to the coroner, and then the coroner, and you think about it, we're dealing with 82 counties across the state. They're going to have a better idea what's happening locally and who needs to be informed and when they need to be informed in those cases, as well as the district attorney. But I can tell you, as part of the normal course, it would have been completed by now.
Pay attention to what he just said. Again, he reiterated that this autopsy is going to go through their chain of locals, their chain of officials. And then he says, this is around the normal time that it would have been completed. Okay. Now, if you've seen my Instagram post, then you know where I'm going with this. But then he says this is around the time that the autopsy would have normally been completed. Now, hearing him say that, you would think, okay, so they didn't do anything off brand, right? If you agree with that, drop a Henny glass in the chat, because that statement to me, it made me think and assume that what he's saying is this is not outside of the norm for us. Our autopsies normally take this amount of time for them to be complete. That's what I got from that sentence, right? But then let's listen to what he says after this.
And that was really one of the things, Governor Reeves, when we came in, we had over 2,000 autopsy reports that had not been completed, dated all the way back to 2010. And
stop. So he says Governor Reeves stepped in and they had 2,000 autopsy reports that hadn't been completed going all the way back to 2010. So how would this be your normal process for autopsies when you have incomplete cold cases going back to 2010? What I believe may have happened and what it sounds like to me is that The governor stepped in because of all of this public attention that this case is getting. And he said, expedite this autopsy. And that's something I've been saying. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play this back again for y'all.
In those cases, as well as the district attorney. But I can tell you, as part of the normal course, it would have been completed by now. And that was really one of the things, Governor Reeves, when we came in, we had over 2,000 autopsy reports that had not been completed, dated all the way back to 2010. And although this is a very tragic case, I do think it shows you where the medical examiner's office is on getting these reports done in a timely fashion.
So again, 2,000 incomplete autopsies going back to 2010. And you're telling us that this is the normal pace and of time that it takes for y'all to do autopsies. Bullshit. Yes, 2010, Sheila. 2010. I thought he said that 2,000 autopsy reports not completed. It's crazy. Yes. 2,000 autopsy reports going back to 2010. They're trying to hurry up and get this out their town. They don't like, and this is just me. This is my opinion. This is my observation. This is not a fact, but this is what I'm observing. It's looking to me like they're trying to hurry up and get this case closed as quickly as they can so they can get all the spotlight off of their town. Because see, now things are starting to come out that they wouldn't want to come out. Secret Service Sam had someone do a video and ask him to come have an interview with me so I could talk to you about the Dixie Mafia. Now, I would be sitting up here lying to you if I said I knew the ins and outs of the Dixie Mafia. I do not. But there's another great content creator who has done a video on the Dixie Mafia. I'm going to ask her if I could, possibly use her video to review. And I'm going to do a little research of my own as well about them. But shout out to Brown Eyes. I don't know if she's in here or not, but I know she's Brown Eyes on on Instagram, because she said in one of the earlier videos, she mentioned the Dixie Mafia. She sure enough did. Before this guy made that video, she mentioned that. And she is somebody that has been very, insightful. I think I went back too far, but because I accidentally hit a button, but let's continue.
We make it available to the coroner and then the
we did.
And who needs to be informed.
That's come out here and
dated all the way back to 2010. And although this is a very tragic case, I do think it shows you where the medical examiner's office is on getting these reports done in a timely fashion.
What do you make of the overall speculation that's come out here and the way things have gone? We're talking about online threats. We had a order came out this week demanding that those threats stop, and for one individual involved that was at the island. How does this all happen? There's been a lot of misinformation, lots of opinions, but from the authority level, there hasn't been much information coming out just because.
Look at his face. There hasn't been much information from authorities coming out. Look at his face. What does his face tell you? Y'all tell me down in the chat. What does his face tell you? Now, Juvie said, wait a minute, where are those bodies that haven't been autopsied? No, they're autopsy reports. They haven't done the reports. The bodies are probably back to the families and buried. Because look at Nolan Wells. His body was given back to his family. It is now buried, and they're just now completing the autopsy report. So those bodies have been buried. Those families have buried their loved ones, and they don't have an autopsy report, which means that there are 2,000 families out there without an answer to what happened to their family members. And you know what that tells me? That tells me that there was a great possibility. It could have been a great possibility. Let me say that. There could have been a great possibility that Nolan Wells could have been one of those people had this case not made international news. Because what you have to understand is this case may have started out as just another local drowning on Horn Island. Because let me tell you something. I've been talking to locals, and I have not given out any of their names because I'm not trying to put them into no hot seat, no none of that. I promised that I wouldn't say anything, but a lot of people have been reaching out to me, and they've been talking to me. They've been calling me on Facebook and stuff. And they have told me a lot of information about Horn Island. Hey, Selena. They've given me a lot of insider information onto Horn Island. And the one thing that a lot of them have told me is that island is not patrolled the way that they try to make it seem like it's patrolled. It is not patrolled the way that it's supposed to be patrolled, and that a lot of diabolical shit has happened on Horn Island. Now, that information is coming from inside sources that are down there in Mississippi, boots on the ground, live there, that are telling me about things that have happened on Horn Island. Okay. It is not this island that is just so good times roll. You've got to think this island is in the middle of the water. It is 10 to 12 miles, depending upon where you go from the mainland out in the water. Okay. But it's not just Horn Island. There are 3 other islands that are out there. So this is just one of the barrier islands. And this is the largest one of the barrier islands, the most popular one that everyone goes to. They say, and you know what? Thank you for bringing that back up. I'm going to look at your comment in a second too, Todd. Druvy says, you see, there were people camping out on the 4th. Now, here's the crazy part, because they will tell you that it is not permitted for people to camp out on that island. However, a quick Google search tells you that it is not illegal for people to camp out on that island. And the father said that when he went looking for Nolan the next morning on July 5th at around 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, okay, there were people camped out in a tent on the island, and there were 2 boats tied up. Now, I kept asking this question before. Who were those people? Henny Glasses in the chat, if y'all remember me asking that question about what is it? What happened? Who are those people? Did authorities talk to them? Do they know where they went to? Why were they out on the island? Were they gone before the authorities came in and began searching for Nolan? Do y'all remember me asking those questions in the beginning about the people camped out on the tent? Okay, y'all remember. And y'all remember me asking about the 2 boats that was out there crack of dawn in the morning. So you can't say that that doesn't happen, because it does happen. No, they're not patrolling the island the way that this is allegedly, and according to people who have contacted me from down there in that area, who have told me that that island does not get patrolled the way that people think it gets patrolled. And a lot of things happen on that island. All right. I see y'all, Henny Glasses. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of y'all. So, yeah, it's a lot of layers to this. So now let's get back into this interview.
Because that's part of the process.
And that's part of the process. And you look at today's world, particularly with AI and social media, if you put too much information out in the very beginning, it can obviously be manipulated. Audio can be manipulated, pictures can be manipulated, video can be manipulated.
So now he's in this interview going on and talking about why they haven't put information out, and trying to say that because of the information, if they put it out too much too soon, that people are going to manipulate it. Well, we know that there have been pictures that have been manipulated, but you see, the first thing he talked about was that audio. The audio has already been authenticated. Okay. At least I can speak for anyone that has heard the information directly from the MDMR. Okay. The audio that I put on my page, that's the original audio. That's one of, let me say that's one of the original audios. All right. I am going to, just so you guys know, I am going to put it up without me saying official That Girl Henny on it. And to those people who've been coming in the comment section talking about, why is she saying her name? Because I put that audio out. I put that audio out originally. And if you go on any social media, you'll see that either they use the one that says That Girl Henny on it, or they use the one that didn't, because it's on my Instagram. But I'm going to post a clear copy on here. I'm not giving any transcriptions on it except for what was picked up in the forefront. I'm not transcribing the background, you guys. I'm not doing that. Todd, I said I was going to read your comments, so let's go back up here. You said by late 2023, state officials reported a 99.6% reduction in those 2,000 cases, specific historical backlog, though the office continues to face ongoing day-to-day timeline pressures for newer cases. So you're saying that they reported in 2023 that there was a reduction in those 2,000 cases. But guess what, Todd? In 2026, he's saying they still was backlogged from 2010. What the hell is that? This could have been any Black person, and this is the reality we face and can encounter. These need to come to light to wake our people up and know we are in a silent war. Thank you for your comment. It's probably a bunch of sinister people. Probably Captain Chris Ward and Captain Seth Ward. Okay, what are we talking about? You're dropping names on me, Pilot J. What are we talking about here? Where are the campers' names? Were the campers named Wyatt, Bart, or Katie? Don't know. Benjamin Crump's team needs to subpoena blockchain. Gut instinct tells me those young men were in 18, 19 and up, and their friends were older people. Possibility, a 99.6% reduction of 2,000 cases. Well, he's saying that there was still 2,000 cases backlogged to 2010 in this interview, and it's 2026. So I don't even understand. Hey, salute to all call out. How are you? Thank you, everybody. Please be sure you lean on a like and share the video.
So we have to make sure that we have a good, solid investigation. And we also want to make sure that witnesses that we're going to, that we're getting their impressions of what happened, not just based on what they see or hear on social media. So I think it has a real detrimental effect when people start particularly putting out misinformation on public venues and on the internet. And look, and as far as the threats that people have received, whether it's potential witnesses, government officials, the family in this case, the threats that are going out there from various people, that has to stop.
So the jab is taken at social media. See, the thing is, misinformation gets fed to social media, okay? Misinformation gets fed, but we don't know what's misinformation and what's actually real when authorities keep their mouths shut. When they don't give us information, when they don't come. You see how simple this is to come on, to do a little interview on the news, or to stand in front of a news camera and to say, this is what's going on with the case right now, and not specifically give up any information. Remember, we did that last video that I did. I said, you could easily have come out, Sheriff Ledbetter, and said, we're continuing to investigate people who are potential witnesses to what was going on. We're gathering more information. The autopsy has been done. It has been sent to the grand jury, and we will release that information to y'all as soon as they are done with their investigation. What's so hard about coming and doing this? Because see, here's the thing, whether it be Nolan's case, whether it be Carmelo's case, whether it be the David case, whether it be whatever case that they try, to hoard information from the public and keep quiet, information comes out. And then we don't know which information is authentic and what's not. So there are people that will document everything, will speak on everything, because we don't know. So we don't want to miss a clue, so they put everything out there. Then there's those who are cautious about what they put out there because they don't want to put out something and it be misleading. But when we don't have information from the authorities, when they are not communicating with the family first and foremost, forget the public. You're not talking to the family. Now let's get into the public. As public servants, that means that your job is to serve the public, which means that you need to be keeping the public informed on what's going on. And if they would give out more information than they would keep quiet, then maybe some of the misinformation would die down. But we are very much aware, everybody on this internet is not slow, okay? We are very much aware that every time the needle jumps and we discover something, here comes some grainy viral picture. Here comes some anonymous witness that's saying stuff is going on. This is this, and I witnessed this. And I start questioning, why didn't you say this before? I don't disregard, but I do have that question. What are you saying? You said nobody has changed their tune on anything. It's always been said to wait for the facts to come out, not make accusations and stick with them no matter what. Okay, so you must be new here. So let me school you on something, Sparky McGee. I go down all the roads. I have not taken a permanent stance on who done it. I have gone down the road of Katie, the boys, the people on the island. I've gone down all the roads and possibilities, and I've even explored the possibility of him possibly drowning. I've explored all of that. And the sheriff, most definitely, they are changing their tune, because the sheriff told the local news that he didn't see any signs of foul play. And now they're coming out talking about suspicion. Please go rewind the video, darling. Anyway, I don't know anything about that interview, Pioneer. Let's continue.
I mean, it's just absolutely unacceptable. We're better than that in Mississippi. We're better than that on the coast. And we're better than that as a society. And that's what I'm most disappointed about, is the viral discussion. And look, if you can't handle social media without throwing out speculation and misrepresenting facts, if you can't handle what you read on there, turn it off for a few days.
So let me ask you something. He wants to talk about misinformation and all of that, but you're not giving anybody anything to go off of. You're not updating the family for the family to come out and say, today we spoke with the sheriff's department, today we spoke to the DA, today we spoke to the FBI, and they have assured us that this and this is going on. See, they miss the mark every time. They miss the mark every time. The problem is that you guys are not communicating with the family. The family is not feeling like you guys are being transparent with them. And if the family is not trusting or is skeptical or is still left twisting in the wind, we are going to feel the same way as the people covering this case, because they should know what's going on. Even if you don't tell us, the family and the legal team, whether you like Ben Crump or not, that's the legal team that the family has. There should be an open, clear line of communication between the family and everybody who is investigating this case, and it's not happening. And then you don't want people to speculate, give opinions, or do what we do on social media, but you choose to hold information back. You can't have it both ways, especially when you have a case of this magnitude. Let's continue.
Breath. But when we start attacking people, threatening lives, threatening families, this has gotten out of control.
How much more difficult?
Okay, so I have to agree with that. The threatening of people and all of that, that's a bit crazy. Okay, that's a bit crazy. And as a matter of fact, let's look over here at this one, because the latest one is there was a woman out in Cincinnati. Now, I posted it on IG, but I did not come here and speak about it with you guys as of yet. But there is a woman from Cincinnati. Her name is Michelle Francine Edwards. She was arrested. Now, what did Francine do? I know some of y'all already know. Some of y'all may not know, okay? She was making threats to the sheriff's office, okay? And she was threatening to tick, tick, boom, the sheriff's office. And that is according to this criminal complaint from the Southern District of Mississippi. This is federal, okay? This is federal. People need to understand that when you make threats online, it's considered federal. All right. So all of this up here, it is, I am John Reiner, being duly sworn, states as follow. Your affiant is currently employed as an investigator by the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, presently assigned full-time to the Federal Bureau of Investigations, Southern Mississippi Safe Streets Task Force, Jackson Division, Pascagoula, resident agency in Mississippi. So he's giving his formalities, okay? All right. And he's saying in here that during his law enforcement career, he received training and gained experience in digital evidence collection. Now, remember, I was telling you that the FBI was there to do digital forensics. They were investigating those types of the devices and things like that in this case. I told you that from the beginning that they were doing that. And he's saying that he has experience in that, electronic communications investigation, search and seizure, interview and interrogation techniques, surveillance, and criminal investigations. He participated in numerous investigations, including tick-tick-boom threats, threat communications directed at public officials and law enforcement agencies. Now, I just want to say, anybody that is continuing to threaten these people after you've seen 2 people have already been arrested, you're crazy and you're asking to be picked up. I said this when Christine posted that she had received that information, that letter in the mail, that the FBI is involved. So y'all go ahead and keep fucking around and find out, right? So it says that on July 23rd, 2026, Michelle Francine Edwards placed a tick-tick-boom threat to Georgia County Chancery Clerk's office between 1:34 p.m. Central Time and 1:42 p.m. Following the tick-tick-boom threat placed at the Georgia County Chancery's clerk office, Edwards placed an additional tick-tick-boom threat to Jackson Sheriff County's office at approximately 2 p.m. Central Time. On or about July 23rd, 2026, an unidentified individual at the time, who was later identified as Edwards, utilized a block number to call the office of the Georgia County Chancery's clerk approximately 21 times between the hours of 1:34 p.m. and 1:42 p.m. She called that office 21 times. Damn, I want to know what they did. I want to know why she was calling Georgia. Anyway, during the course of these calls, Edwards stated, "Do not go outside. The clock is ticking and unalived." Okay, terminate. An emergency disclosure request was submitted to a C-Spire, in which the subject telephone number was identified, okay? Subsequent emergency disclosure request was submitted to Verizon for call detail records associated with the unknown subject. During the review of the call records of the subject device, it was also determined that the subject device called Jackson County Sheriff's Office dispatch approximately 8 times utilizing *67 on July 23rd between the hours of 2:06 p.m. and 2:24 p.m. So basically, they got the number from when she called down there to Georgia and made the threats. They got the number, they subpoenaed those records, the call records from Verizon, and while they were going through it, they noticed that she was calling *67 blocking her number to the Jackson County Sheriff's Department, okay? Your affiant is aware that *67 feature was used before dialing the phone number will hide or mask your caller ID, making your call appear to be private, blocked, or unknown. The *67 feature is a free and easy way used by individuals in an attempt to hide their phone number and identity to keep their information private for a single call on most landlines and cellular devices. However, the *67 feature does not negate the calling number from being captured in toll records. Okay, so basically, you could dial *67 all you want to, but it's not going to hide your number from your call log. All right. So, a review of the Jackson County Sheriff's Office dispatch recorded calls identified 2 calls from the subject device, which represented a threat. In the first call, the subject stated, "Y'all got a tick-tick-boom outside. Don't go outside," A short time later, the subject placed the second call and stated, "Y'all still in there?" Jackson County Sheriff's Office locked down the building due to the tick-tick-boom threat, referencing the exterior of the building. Jackson County Sheriff's Office then conducted a tick-tick-boom sweep of the building's exterior to include the use of tick-tick-boom detection canines. Okay. An open source search of the subject telephone number through Cashapp revealed 2 results. $lovers.84, vanity name Michelle Edwards, and one last hug, vanity name lovers. A review of SMS content related to the subject device revealed numerous SMS text messages referencing Michelle. A review of law enforcement database information indicated the subject device was listed in numerous reports with the Cincinnati Police Department, in which Michelle Edwards was listed as the owner of the subject device. So they just tracked her information all the way down using her phone number. See, y'all fuck around and find out. A review of cell site information from the subject device on the night of July 23rd indicated that the device was bedded down in the area of, and they put the address to where it was. So this is where she is in custody now. Okay? She's in custody now. So you stop playing around. Stop playing around. Okay? They're not playing. Now, these were government officials, but at the same time, I would like to see a little bit more movement when it comes down to protecting the family. Okay, we're hearing a lot about the other families. It's like the other families are becoming the victims in this case, but who lost a child here? Oh, all right, let's continue.
Does all of the speculation make for an investigation?
Oh, it creates an enormous amount of challenges. Because again, the misinformation there, people read something, they think that's a fact, it's not a fact. Then all of a sudden, additional witnesses might come forward saying they heard something that they heard from 3 other people, and there's just no basis for it. And that's really one of the frustrating things that I see, just, you know, when we're talking about some of the people involved that are asking for additional information, and they're, you know, in New York, and they're in Chicago, and they're in Nashville, and you know, to me, if you're trying to find that information, talk to the people that were on Horn Island that day. Talk to the people that live down here that go out there regularly. That's where, if there's anything that happened, those are the people going to have knowledge of what it is, and we need to be asking those questions down here.
So I want to know, when they're saying talk to people that are at Horn Island, I question. Are you talking to news outlets? Are you saying that news outlets? Or are you saying people are asking you for? Here's the thing. It doesn't matter who's asking for information from y'all, okay? Are y'all doing your job is what we want to know. We want to know, are you going to hold people accountable in this situation? Because at the very least, you have the drinking, the contributing to the delinquency of minors, the driving the boat while intoxicated. Those are illegal. You also have people who were last seen with the people. Like, come on, man. Listen, Mississippi has pissed me off to the highest level of my pistivity by making all of these excuses as to why they're being mum's the word.
Not across the country.
Okay, thanks for talking to us about this, and we'll see how the investigation of Nolan Wells turns out. Let's talk about a couple of other things with you. Driver services is an area that it was a priority for you, and you say that the wait times have improved. Overall experience for driver services has improved.
Yeah, you know, that is one of the big things that when I sat down with the governor in 2020, when he asked me to take this job, he really gave me 3 things that he wanted me to focus on. Number 1 priority at the time was driver services. And if you think about that, we had 3-hour wait times.
Okay, so they get into talking about other things, but let me get into some of these comments here. So there's too many accessories for this to be over jealousy of a sexual partner. In my opinion, it's money involved before the payout to bury the story. Interesting. That DA in Mississippi is bitter because she lost her daughter to a disease a few years ago. Oh, see, interesting. Didn't know that. Please stop promoting other channels in my chat. Thank you. It will be interesting to find out the local. Okay. It will be interesting to find out the local franchise and business owner that legally represents the franchise local branch of CETO has not Have not seen anyone looking into it so far. Interesting. Thank you. Foul play, no doubt, from the bottom to the top office of Mississippi. All right, let's see what else. Someone needs to hold Life 360 hostage until it goes detail by detail, and tracking Life 360 is going to help the biggest of this case. Now, the thing is, the mom did subpoena Life 360. Okay. The mom subpoenaed Life 360 for their records. So in a minute, she's going to have all of that. But I'm hoping that she took screenshots of everything. Okay. Because there was a video that did come out. I'm going over here to my Instagram. There was a video that did come out that was a mother allegedly that was saying that her son shared locations with Nolan, and that Nolan's location was pinging in the middle of the ocean. And she also said, here we go. I'm going to play it for y'all. Okay. She also said that, well, I'm just going to play it. Y'all will see.
About the Snapchat information.
Hold on. I want to shout out the channel, which is Flow Daddy Flow. Okay. This is where I saw it at, and I saved it to my clips for y'all. See there? I'm getting better.
Is really the key to bust this case wide open. Nolan's friend's mom just came out speaking on something that was odd with the Snapchat location her son and Nolan shared. This is crazy. Listen to this. Tell me what you think, but I'm going to tell you what don't make sense about this situation. And I don't like it. Listen.
Now, here's the weird thing to me. This is what stands out to me the most. When we found out that Nolan was missing, my son immediately snapped him, and then Christine messaged him back and said, "I have Nolan's phone now." This was at 12:53, according to the screenshot that I have. This was at 1:53 in the morning. Okay. Mm-hmm. So he, for whatever reason, I don't know if it.
Hold on, y'all. Hey, Uniquely is in the chat. Amazing Expectations said that that's not true. Secret Service Sam said the lady was not credible. Well, didn't he report on that? Let me see. Hold on, y'all. We gonna find out. We gonna get into it. In the meantime, in between time, let me play this for y'all, because I found this interesting too.
Nolan Walls was Blasian with a Black father and half Asian mother. The Asian community should be demanding justice for Nolan alongside the Black community. Like Nolan, I too spent my childhood being the only non-white kid in my friend group. And while it certainly felt emotionally and socially unsafe at times to hang out with a bunch of white females, I can't imagine how physically unsafe it is to be the only person of color in a group of white males who are categorically the most violent demographic in the history of humanity. So for any person of color who's friends with white folks, please check out the videos I posted recently talking to a white friend of mine who's done a lot of inner work deconstructing her own internalized white supremacy and racism. If your white friends can't engage with you in this way, they probably aren't that safe for you, and you might want to question whether to continue being close to them, as this incident has shown that being the only person of color amongst a group of white folks isn't safe. May Nolan's family get the justice they deserve. Nolan Walls was Blasian with a Black father and half Asian mother. The Asian community should be
who claims her son is friends with Nolan. Check this audio out.
Now, here's the weird thing to me. This is what stands out to me the most. When we found out that Nolan was missing, my son immediately snapped him, and then Christine messaged him back and said, "I have Nolan's phone now." This was at 12:53, according to the screenshot that I have. This was at 1:53 in the morning. Okay.
Okay.
So he, for whatever reason, I don't know if he was going to, I don't know why he took the screenshot, to be honest with you. I think it was maybe even a God thing. But he took a screenshot of Nolan's location on Snapchat because they shared locations with each other. And on that screenshot, it shows Nolan basically in the middle of the Gulf, like right off of Horn Island. It said that he had been at that location for 13 hours, which would make sense if you just back up that timeline. That would make sense around the time that they would have arrived at the island. But what was weird was that his location didn't change. It said that he was last active an hour prior to that. And my son, I think it said it was like 53 minutes prior to that my son had sent him a snap. So why the location didn't change is odd.
What's interesting about this is Nolan's last location that pinged him was still on Horn Island. And if the phone had been on, it would have pinged him to the house where his parents picked up the phone. So does this mean his phone was tampered with? And also on Snapchat, to get somebody's ping, you have to be a close friend. Who is this person? What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments. Secret Service Sam out. Samson for president of the world.
Okay, that was weird. That was very, very weird. Okay, what was the last thing that y'all heard? Because I said so much. Were you guys able to hear the video? Have y'all not heard me since the video? That's crazy. And I wasn't muted. Okay, so you heard the video and then mute. Okay, so let me go back to what I was saying. I said that Secret Service Sam did not denounce this video, but what raised my eyebrow about the video is the fact that Christine said that the Life 360 app was showing her one location and Javon's Snapchat was showing a different location. Now, she's never said which location was showing on the Snapchat, but she did tell us that the phone was showing that it was at a residence. So at the end of the day, I did also go into Javon because I said, we've already talked about Javon. Javon's phone, according to his grandmother in the Sun Herald interview, she said that Javon and Nolan's phones were on the boat that Nolan wrote in on, which we know, according to Warren, was the Triton. Henny Glasses in the chat if y'all remember that portion of the story where Javon's phone was on the same boat. Now, the grandmother went on to say in that interview that Javon got his phone later and that Nolan's mom had to go back and she had to search for his phone to get his phone back. All right. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what she said. And my thing is, Javon, he's never mentioned that in any of the interviews that he did. He did a TMZ interview and his mom was on TikTok in the comments and she told someone over there who was coming down on her and coming for her and said that Javon was a minor because Javon is 17 years old. So Javon went and did this TMZ interview without his mother's permission, which is why the TMZ interview is not there. I don't know if y'all know that or not. If you didn't know, drop a 2 in the chat. That's the reason why the interview disappeared, because the mother didn't consent. And so he came back with the mom, with Christine, with Ben Crump on CNN, and he spoke. I don't think we're going to hear from Javon anymore when it comes down to this. At the end of the day, I do feel like he should have said something about his phone being on that boat. Oh, yes, baby. She said she did not give permission for him to do that interview with TMZ, and it is gone. Okay, Danielle said exactly, Henny. Christine said it was showing 2 different Snapchat locations, and it was weird. Yes, so that's why I'm not denouncing what this lady said. Now, she said that her son's Snapchat location showed Nolan's phone being in the water, right? Like being out there. She also said 13 hours prior. So she also said that aligned with the time that they got out there. So the question then becomes, did Nolan turn his phone off? Because if you turn your phone off, Snapchat is no longer going to track your location. What happened? We need information. So again, to go back into the phone, Christine's never told us where that other location was. All right. Javon never mentioned that. That's another thing that he never mentioned in an interview when he did his interview with CNN or TMZ. He never said where the phone was. So that information is very pertinent. When it comes down to Life 360, Christine has already subpoenaed Life 360, Snapchat, metadata, Metaverse, which is Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. And she's also subpoenaed the records for TikTok. So she's trying to get all of this information. And the one thing that I can say is when your phone is powered off, Snapchat may not be able to go ahead and continue to track your location. But even though Life 360 tells you that they don't still continue to track if your phone dies, that is not true. Or if you power your phone off, it still tracks your phone. Okay, you're still going to get that. Now, I don't know who got into the phone and did what, But if the mom is saying that the Snapchat, because she said there was no snaps. Now, this story itself with the Snapchat thing has taken on a life of itself, just like the redness to the back of his head has taken on a life of itself. But the Snapchat, she said there were no snaps from that day. Now I'm hearing people are reporting that there were no snaps, that text messages were deleted and all types of stuff, but I do not recall her saying that. But this is what's being alleged online, that it's text messages and all of that that was deleted. I cannot confirm or deny that because I don't recall hearing the mom say all of that was missing, but that's what's being reported. Just like the back of the head, it's the occipital bone, which is basically like aligned with your eyes. It's in the back of the head, but I'm hearing that the redness was on the back of the neck, the back of the brain. It was the back of the head with the in the occipital area. So I don't know. Same thing with the lungs and the stomach, and it was missing. It was never said that the lungs and the stomach was missing. They just could not autopsy it. So it's like some things start to spin. It's like the telephone game. One thing gets said, and then it just takes on a life of itself. You know what I'm saying? But this right here, if this woman, if what she's saying is accurate, that her son had his Snapchat location someplace else, it aligns with the story. So yeah, I wanted to give that to y'all as well, because it could possibly be something. It could possibly be nothing. You know what I'm saying? Now, there is another gentleman who is speaking out that says that he is from the Ocean Springs area. He is a Black gentleman. He's been receiving some flack, but this is what he had to say. Hold on. Let me take it down because they're saying that they are not playing my audio. So let's go ahead and reshare so y'all can hear everything that he's had to say.
Things that the people in the back of the room don't know. Yes, us locals, we are privy to a lot of things because we know these people. I gave Nolan his first haircut. I know his parents. Been knowing them for years. Been knowing his mom since she was like in high school. I'm real good friends with her family. So here's the deal. When that video came out, and you hear them people on there talking that lady dug up and went and researched and brought up the sounds. The truth is this. If that video is legit, it's a few people in trouble. Point blank, period.
Now, when he says if that video is legit, he's talking about the audio. T. Renee, that is not true. The brain, the lungs were there. The neck structure, which is the interior of the throat, is what was missing. We've gone over this plenty of times. Please go back and watch my videos. We've gone over this plenty of times. The lungs were there. They were unable to dissect the lungs because the lungs were already dissected by the first medical examiner. The brain was there. How do we know that? Because the autopsy report told us that the organs were in the body's cavity when it was shipped to them. And the only thing that was reported missing was the neck structure. That's according to the autopsy. Please read it for yourself if you don't believe me. But this gentleman is saying that he's local, he knows everybody, and that if this audio is correct with what we all are hearing on this, what we all believe we hear on this, then there's people in trouble.
Point blank, period. Now, see, this is the stuff that you got to wait for, this type of evidence, right? Now, I'm going to help you out here. All right? I hear Bart and them parents are suing. Bart's name was mentioned on the video. Okay? Well,
Bart's name was also was mentioned in Warren's interview. So Bart needs to go after Warren because Warren put you right up in the midst of all of that.
I asked one of his friends, who was a black guy, about Bart a few days ago. And they said that Bart was cleared already. And according to the black people, They cleared Bart. I don't even know if the police cleared Bart. But it sounds like the black people that's involved cleared Bart. They said Bart ain't had nothing to do with it. But Bart's name is all over that tape. But if these black guys are telling the truth, then guess what? You see why his daddy's suing.
Now, let me explain something to you. And we're going to stop the video right there. Let me say this to everybody. Right. Crumb said the throat was missing. When you see Nolan, right, and Nolan is with his friends, I've looked at some of these people's profiles that are open that I can see, and let me tell you what I see. I always see one, maybe two black friends in the group of white friends. Nolan has pictures with his white friends that are separate from his black friends. Now, I'm not saying for a fact, but I'm going to say what it looked like. And it looks like maybe all of these groups knew one another, but they did not intermingle with one another. Henny Glasses in the chat if you've seen it and agree. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. They have not revealed the state's autopsy results. As a matter of fact, let me go to Don Lemon and let me play this young man for y'all. I love this young man. I've been following this young man. He is from Mississippi, okay? And he talks about being black in Mississippi. So let me go ahead and pull that up for y'all while I pull this Don Lemon for y'all, because he covered this today, that the autopsy, whatever, I haven't seen it. But apparently, the autopsy, there's a toxicology report that's going around, and apparently it must be fake. Okay, I don't know.
About Mississippi, what most people don't realize, the majority of people act like they don't see. Now, I've been posting videos on this all week about how hard black people got it down here. And if you scroll through the comments, you will see a lot of people saying, well, why don't you just leave? Why don't you just get your stuff up and go? See, here's the thing. A lot of us was born and raised in Mississippi. And the sad truth is all we know is Mississippi. It's like they're saying it's easier said than done. But eventually, I'm pretty sure at a set point of time, we will get our things up and go. See, for me, there's two types of people in this world. The ones that let it happen and the ones that do something about it. You must not hear the words coming out of my mouth. These people are known to trap you in Mississippi through the system, through jobs, through financial hardship, and some even family and kids. I wish I could just pack my stuff up and leave tomorrow. But if you catch a dolphin out the water and throw him on land, do you think that dolphin is gonna eat land food? But it's a lot tougher than you think. Now, if you know me, I don't make excuses. It's gonna get done. But please, stop trying to make excuses for Mississippi and realize it's just a corrupt system down here. We shouldn't have to pack our stuff up and leave. Welcome to Mississippi. Let me tell you something about Mississippi. What most people don't realize, the majority of people act like they don't see. Now, I've been posting videos on this all week about how hard black people got it down here. And if you scroll through the comments,
that young man has been giving a lot of insight into a lot of things. You know, he's a young man that lives down there. He's telling you what it's like to be down there. And, you know, give him a follow if you haven't already. Now, Don Lemon did sit and he talked with the same gentleman that I just played. So we're going to play a little bit of Don. Okay, because Don covered a lot. Shout out to Don Lemon. He's been on this from day one. And I'm going to keep saying that every time because he's been on the job. Okay, and I salute that.
Back to the story that we're doing, the work that we're doing here, trying to get people to come around to the truth. Okay. Now, people are asking me what's with the tone switch today. I'm not switching tones. It's been the same thing. I have not been judge and jury about anything. I have not said anything. I said, I told you what I thought. I told you that what I thought might be a scenario, but I've never been. So there's no tone switch. So I've just been thinking a lot about it and about all these things and about people fighting with each other and whatever. So, I may have to call somebody out in the thing, but this is how I'm feeling right now. I'm telling you, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I woke up. This is what this weekend had been thinking about the entire time, especially when when that fake toxicology report started spreading. I was like,
Miss Lisa, official that girl Henny on Instagram is the best way to send me stuff. But let me just let y'all know, in case y'all don't know, I don't usually post or go live on the weekends. I may come on Saturday, but I definitely am not coming on a Sunday. I do take time to rest and relax myself because this is a very emotionally charged case. Like at the end of the day, we're dealing with so many layers and we're fighting the system, so to speak. And it can be very exhausting. But if you guys have information and you want to send it to me, my Instagram name is the same name as the YouTube channel, official that girl Henny. Please only send information that involves things like this nature to that Instagram inbox. Okay, thanks.
Boy, what is this? And people are like, is this real? Is it not? Is it real? And it's like, even if it was leaked, you still don't know if it's real unless someone confirms it. And thank you very much for someone who says, why the tone? I have not. You may think that I shifted tone because you have been watching somebody else or you have confirmation bias. Now, there have been plenty of people on this channel that have had lots of ideas about what happened, what they think. Plenty of people.
And you know what? I agree with Don. I've noticed that when it comes down to reporting on this, because some people have gotten upset with some of the assumptions, like what I'm seeing, what I'm viewing, what I'm thinking. If I've gone down the road, like the day that I did the video about the potential of drowning. Oh my goodness, the way people were so upset with me. But again, I'm not one of those people who has hung my hat on any one particular person. And maybe some people feel a way about that, but I feel like the possibilities of this are so endless right now. Okay. And we can't close ourselves off to one way or the other, because at the end of the day, it's so many people involved who have seen, who have heard, who haven't come forward, who we know, who we don't know. We still don't know who all of the people are that rode out on them 3 boats. There's still people that aren't being talked about right now. And I'm noticing a lot of people are protecting Katie. And I want to know what that's about. Like, people are coming forward speaking out for Katie, but here's the other side to that coin. People aren't coming out really speaking for these boys. Hey, I'm putting on who was the 2 girl versus on audio. It could be someone like an adult making a decision. I don't know if that's an adult making a decision on the audio or not. We have not had the background voices confirmed. We can only say Wyatt was on the phone according to the audio. Wyatt was on the phone. Warren was on the boat. Will was on the boat. Bart was on the boat. And that's going off of the names that we've heard. But we do not know who the other people were that were on the boat. Okay? Let's get back into Don.
But I've never made a judgment on what happened. I've talked about the investigators seems like they dropped the ball. The sheriff is being too tight-lipped. The friends are out here talking and speaking for the parents, talking shit about the parents. Nolan would be unhappy or whatever they said about the way his parents are handling it. I would never, ever, ever, to my friends, even my enemy's mom, say some shit like that. I'm just saying. And I've been saying all along when people say, everybody, you guys have heard it on this program, when they say, well, you guys have to stop thinking that those boys had anything to do with it. We're saying nobody's thinking that those boys saying that. Nobody's saying that. People are analyzing the evidence, and people are analyzing people who have put themselves in front of cameras and microphones. It's not like we went out seeking information or response from those people. They went on to a channel and put themselves in front of the world. And guess what?
I love the fact that Don refuses to say Officer Tatum's name. He will not say his name on his show. He will not. And I love it. And in case you're wondering, yes, I love Don Lemon.
But when you do that, the world is going to scrutinize you. In this day and age, you can't think any, you should know there's no way to think otherwise. That is not going to happen. Thank you very much, Dr. Rob. And Don has been consistent in seeking answers. Experts on to help. Everybody understand. I appreciate you. And just because I have been crump on, I ask him questions. I ask the parents questions. They're free to answer the way that they want. So don't tell me there's been a tone shift. So this is a report about the autopsy report, the fake one that's going around that I've been telling you about. Watch this.
The investigation continues surrounding the death of Nolan Wells. And as the story of the Mississippi 18-year-old has gained massive traction on social media, Public Safety Commissioner Sean Tindall is clearing false reports. The commissioner took to social media to say, quote, the purported toxicology report from Nolan Wells is circulating through social media on various outlets is fraudulent. Nolan's family, friends, and most importantly, Nolan himself deserve better. Fraudsters, AI, and social media are a recipe for disaster. All they want you to do is click and share. Don't.
I think it's one of the dangers that we face in the modern world where, evidence gets out into the public realm and it can be, and I'm not saying this was manipulated, but audio can certainly be manipulated. Pictures can be manipulated.
Let me correct myself. Don did not interview him. I said that earlier. I need to correct myself.
Video can be manipulated and rather easily. And so, I think it's something that we have to keep in mind these days.
Tindall also says the evidence will reveal the facts, adding that digital forensics professionals regularly analyze this type of information and should be allowed to examine it.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. There's a warning. And then I mentioned earlier about the mother of Nolan Wells responding to some of the things that are out there, some of the things that people are saying, even some of the fake reports. Even the smearing of her son, because no matter what happens, look, no one deserved to die. We've been saying that all along, no matter what happens. Here's the mom in an exclusive interview on this very show on Friday morning.
We've seen this before, right? Pattern recognition. We've seen this where things have happened, especially when we talk about the Black community. And after the death, it's a smear campaign. It's, what can we find out about this person? What can we say? And, that's something, my family and I, especially my husband and I, we definitely do not appreciate. But, we can't fight everyone that wants to have an opinion. But also, too, it's part of society that has been allowed to occur, which is it's gut-wrenching at best. Because if you were in our situation, how would you feel if there were millions of people who are saying, oh, hey, well, he was at an island, he was heavily drunk. And again, even with the drinking, there are so many conflicting stories, only because I have spoken with adults who knew Nolan very well, coaches that were out there. One in particular, I think he told me he saw Nolan somewhere between like 2:45 and 3:30. He was like, Christine, yeah, we talked for a while. We talked about college. We talked about his life, his plans. And he was like, he was perfectly fine. Because I think it had bothered him too, that there was this narrative of, oh, he was sloppy drunk. Like and it started at the very beginning. It was, oh, he was sloppy drunk. And I'm like, but was he though? Or is this a narrative that you guys want to use to kind of have us just accept that it was a drowning?
That is a very important question to be asking, because this whole thing, like I've said, I don't debate whether or not there was some type of drinking going on. It's the 4th of July, but the way that it's being made to seem, that MDMR in-house email that we talked about several times on this channel, where it says that he was heavily intoxicated. It contradicts Warren saying that he saw Nolan. Nolan was drinking, everybody was drinking, but Nolan was fine. Every time he spoke to Nolan, Nolan was fine. He said that. So who's starting this narrative of heavily intoxicated? Who gave that information to the MDMR? Now, I did come out and I did say that I believed it may have been from the report that Warren gave, because Warren called the Coast Guard. But did the Coast Guard share this information to MDMR? Who called MDMR? Okay.
So that was a mom last week. Now, let me get to the threats that have been made against people and some of the false. When I tell people to slow your roll, and that's for some of you too, posting stuff online, and especially for some of the content creators. When you're posting stuff online and you're giving reports, you don't know exactly what's real and what's not. Now, according to a report last week, one of the young men who was involved or who was there, his parents said that they've retained an attorney for a false report that is online.
And I have to say, this right here, what he's saying is accurate. Now, y'all drop your Henny glasses in the chat, or two if you don't agree, a Henny glass if you do. But it's becoming very hard to separate what's real and what's not with all of the information that's floating around online. Are you finding it difficult to figure out what's real and what's not? Henny glasses in the chat if you are. Drop a 2 in the chat if you aren't. Because at the end of the day, there is so much information and it's all being reported differently. Well, this person is saying this, I'm saying this person is saying that, and we're all looking at the same thing and we're all interpreting it differently. And then this person gets this information and that person gets that information, and then they add it to this information and they add on to it. And then this person will slip up and say, for example, the lungs are gone. All of a sudden, the lungs are gone, and it goes from the lungs are gone to the organs were missing, and they didn't send his organs. And all of a sudden, when it was clearly said the neck structures, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's why I said this is like a game of telephone. And it is becoming a little difficult to decipher between information. So I'm glad he's saying this. I am so glad that he's saying it. And remind you, this is a seasoned journalist who has taken off on his own. Remember, Don used to be on CNN, and now he is over here working his own journalism. So if a seasoned professional journalist is telling you that it's becoming a lot, then I know that all of us who feel this way, we're on the right track with saying it's becoming a little mucky out here. All right. Exactly, Pilot J. We just want the answers. We just want to see how the whole investigation is unfolding. We want to know what's going on. Okay. We want to see Christine and her family get justice. We want to see that. That has not been confirmed to be true.
And also the threats. I mentioned the threats that have been made even to a member of our staff, the threats that have been made to people who are involved in this story or in this case. And here's a report on what has happened now, because people are actually being arrested. Roland.
Due to speculation and tension growing nationwide, law enforcement agencies have been monitoring threats made to several parties involved in the investigation. Now, an arrest has been made. According to court documents, Joseph Alfredo Vasquez Dumars is in custody for an alleged death threat sent to Jackson County Chancery Judge Ashley Cole, the stepmother of one of the friends who traveled to Horn Island on July 4th with Nolan Wells. According to court documents, Dumars sent a direct message on Facebook referencing a package being sent to Cole's office, reading, "It's gonna blow you away when you see it."
The threats that are going out there from various people, that has to stop. I mean, it's just absolutely unacceptable. We're better than that in Mississippi. We're better than that on the coast. And we're better than that as a society. And that's what I'm most disappointed about. is the viral discussion. And
the viral debate, Tyndall says, means investigators have an added obstacle while hearing from witnesses.
so we have to make sure that we have a good, solid investigation. And we also want to make sure that witnesses that we're going to, that we're getting their impressions of what happened, not just based on what they see or hear on social media. So I think it has a real detrimental effect when people start particularly putting out misinformation on public venues and on the internet. And
Tyndall says that with the circulation of misinformation, he encourages people to direct their eyes to what's happening locally.
If you're trying to find that information, talk to the people that were on Horn Island that day. Talk to the people that live down here that go out there regularly. That's where, if there's anything that happened, those are the people going to have knowledge of what it is. And we need to be asking those questions down here, not across the country.
And yes, we need to be answering those questions down there, not across the country. Well, but people across the country are interested. I'm not sure if that is necessary. I don't believe that. I don't believe that part of it. I think that people, as I said, should slow the roll, but people should be keeping pressure on the investigators in Mississippi.
And I agree with Don on that. So, he has come out, the toxicology report has come out. It's not real. That's been floating around, according to what Donna said. I think we may have missed that part where he said that it wasn't real. Let me see.
Stuff and what may or may not have been in the system, and is that all of that blaming the victim. She says now everybody's got the name information because people are just putting things on the internet. And I fault mainly, I fault the investigators. I fault the investigators on not having a timely response to these things, not having a cadence about a regular cadence about updating people. So I fault them. This weekend, a document starts making the rounds online claiming to be Nolan's toxicology report. Did you guys see that? Hit the like and the thumbs up. Let me know if you've seen it. I'll just put it up for a minute. And so Andy put that up. So this is, let me just tell you, it's not real. According to all sources, it's not real, including the people who are in Mississippi. Now everybody's got the name of it and the department and all the things. And anyways, it's fake and they're warning. I'll play a report from you in just a little bit. But this weekend, this document was making its round online, claiming to be Nolan's toxicology report. The family says it's fake. The representatives say it's fake. The officials in Mississippi say it's fake. The official toxicology report hasn't even been released yet. And people are arguing over this anyways. You can take it down, Andy. People are arguing over this anyways, as if it is real. Again, it is not real. I like to bat down the misinformation. And I had to laugh for a second. It's laughable. It's not funny. Not because it's funny, because it is unbelievable. We have reached the point where we're debating evidence that apparently isn't even evidence. We're debating this audio thing it's not evidence yet. I mean, look, it could lead to something. But as I said last week, even the woman who did the audio analysis says this is my interpretation, and it should not be the only interpretation, but people are taking it as if it's fact, as if it's exactly what the people said. We don't know that yet.
And that's what I've said. I love that Don is speaking we're aligned. We're in sync. He's like my spirit animal right now. All right, you guys. So I have a bit of information. And I really don't like when we be on here very, very long. Holy crap. Hold on. Oh, please. Henny Legal. I'm going to say Henny Legal is on some BS this morning. All right, you guys. Now, I have some information here. I have some information here. They're putting me on the spot. Henny Legal is putting me on the spot right now. And I am calling you out, Henny Legal, for this one. So, apparently, TMZ has dropped the Nolan Wells case. It says, read United Cajun Navy's investigative report, new photos of friends and boats. Dun, dun, dun. TMZ has obtained the United Cajun Navy's full investigative report into Nolan Wells' death. And it includes a new photo of the 3 boats his friends anchored off Mississippi's Horn Island on the day Nolan disappeared. Okay, so this is the document here. Okay. All right. Check it out. The photo on page 12 of the report shows the 3 boats anchored side by side. Note, as boat 3, the Palm Beach and the Triton, on the 4th of July. The Triton is the boat that took on water before leaving the island without Nolan. Okay. So this photo right here has been confirmed, which we've already seen this photo, gone through this photo, and we've said that Nolan was on the Triton and this was the Palm Beach back here. So we were correct about that. But then there is another photo, and we're going to go through the doc. We're going to go through the doc. All right. As we previously reported, Nolan's best friend Warren Hudson claimed he and other friends begged him to board their vessel to leave the island around 4:30, but he refused. Now, pause, because Warren Hudson never said that. Warren Hudson said the last time he saw Nolan was at 3 p.m. But now, Warren, they're saying that he begged him at 4:30, but he refused. The United Cajun Navy's report says the Triton left the island at 4:31. The report also shows the cluster of boats anchored up with the Triton and notes a woman on the island named Caitlin Brochard snapped a pic of the vessels and reported Nolan was nowhere in sight when her group left the island at 7:30. So who's saying they saw him at 6 p.m.? This has been our question. Okay. So you see in this photo, boat 1, boat X, boat 2, boat 3, Warren on Palm Beach. Okay. And this is a photograph of everybody that is in the water. All right. Now, the last independently corroborated sighting of Nolan, according to the report, has been between 3:23 and 4:27. And there are loads of unanswered questions about his whereabouts during that time frame. So during this time frame, there's questions. As you know, Nolan was reported missing and was found dead on July 6th, washing up near where he was last seen. Okay, an independent autopsy commissioned by Nolan's family listed Nolan's cause and manner of death listed as undetermined. Okay, the first autopsy concluded by Mississippi officials is complete, but the results are still under wraps. Brian Trasher, United Cajun Navy VP, tells TMZ their report has been sent to Nolan's family, prosecutors, and law enforcement, who have all confirmed receipt. All right. So, Henny Glasses in the chat, if y'all are ready to get into this, let's get this up here. All right, let me get my screen. Yeah, y'all like to see the documents. All right, so let's do that, and then let's go ahead and let's go through this together. Now, remember, this is the first time that I am seeing this, so we're probably going to go over this several times. Okay, let me just make that very clear. We're going to go over this several times because this is my first time going through the document. All right. So here you have boat 1, boat X, boat 2, and boat 3. And the photograph is being taken by Warren on the Palm Beach. All right. Now, we cannot see the names on the sides of these boats, but we do see the people in the water. Now, do y'all remember we saw a similar picture to this? All right. We saw a similar picture to this. And remember, people were photoshopped into that photo? Okay. So it says this report organizes the supplied photographs, videos, annotations, coordinates, and social media statements. This is not a law enforcement finding and does not determine criminal or civil responsibility. Let's highlight that because I can see this needs to be highlighted. All right. We're going to start that straight out the gate. This is not a law enforcement finding and does not determine criminal or civil responsibility. As like I said, when I come back later, I'm going to break all of this down and I'm going to align what I can align. But from what I'm gathering right now, it looks like this Cajun Navy report is analyzing things that have been posted on social media and has not been fully verified. So, yeah, it's this right here. We know what the Triton looks like because I've posted the Triton. I've shown y'all what the Triton boat looks like. None of those look like the Triton to me. And going off of what we just looked up for the tide line, those boats didn't look like tide lines neither. Hey, Mel, he said, I'm going to investigate. Yeah, I'll be investigating as well. What's the truth on what's been said from the voices that spoke? We can't identify anyone's voices on there. We don't know who the people are in the background that's talking. There's nobody that's come forward and said, that's me on the boat, and this is what's being said. This is what was done. There's no one that's come forward to say that. Warren has said that he was there. Warren put Bart there and Wyatt there. And we know that Bart, Warren, Wyatt, and Will, it sounds like Will, were all a part of that recording. So I'm going to be digging and chewing on this right now. But as of right now, I cannot confirm nor deny anything. Okay. The man said something happened and they need to investigate. 3 brown boats. What is 3 brown boats? But yeah, this is what I'm going to be doing. So I'll be back at 10 p.m. tonight. I'm already here longer than I anticipated. Thank you so much for everybody tapping in and tuning in. But now this, again, came from the United Cajun Navy. So we're going to be looking into all of this, and I will have some answers for y'all when I come back later on. But thank you all for tapping in and tuning in. Be sure that you have your notifications on. This was kind of me doing this in real time, looking at stuff, but I don't like to do this, so I won't be doing this ever again in real time. I like to come with my ducks lined in a row. All right. So I will see you guys a little later on. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Thank you for tapping in and tuning in. See you later.